Okay. We're here with Coach Hoiberg. I'll start with Chris Bassnett.
Hey Fred, I guess can you just kind of walk us through how the Dome game came together and what the process was like to get those guys on the schedule?
Yeah, we looked at several options, Chris. We talked about not playing a game and just getting ready for our conference season. We talked about a couple other potential games that we looked at, but we just felt like this was the thing to do. One of the reasons we're doing this, obviously, is to get a game against another opponent, and we've had a lot of time, obviously, in the gym practicing against each other. So to get an opportunity to go out here in a game-type setting against another opponent is important. Two other reasons: we're getting Eduardo back on the floor. We felt it was a good opportunity for Eduardo to not have his first action against two of the better bigs in our league with Potter and Reavers in the when we do match up against Wisconsin. Another reason, we recently found out that Derek Walker's suspension was going to be reduced to 11 games from the start of the season. This is another game that we can knock off of Derek's suspension. So, a lot of reasons we're doing this. And, Ian McKeithen, the coach, good friend of mine, talked to him. I hired him actually as an intern after I hired Matt. Ian was a guy that we hired to bring on, and good friend of mine. So just felt there was a lot of reasons for us to play this game. Plus the Wisconsin game getting moved back to Tuesday, that would have given us 12 days off without a game. So hopefully we come out, play well. We obviously got a lot of things we need to work on. And, the important thing tomorrow is working on everything that we need to get better at, which is moving the ball. When we did that against Creighton, we had some really good possessions. When we didn't, we turned the ball over. So this will give us an opportunity to go out there, see a different type of defense than they're used to seeing every day in practice, and hopefully get better in a lot of areas.
Robin Washut.
Fred, I was going to ask you about just, what this Thursday game meant for you in terms of Eduardo, and then depending on what the NCAA does with that blanket transfer waiver with Trevor Lakes, I guess, what are you trying to see from them particularly in this game? Do you anticipate kind of giving them extended minutes just to kind of get their feet under them a little bit, or what's the plan for those two guys, assuming that they pass the waiver?
Yeah, and Eduardo's not ready for extended minutes yet. He just got back in the practice floor yesterday. Today was his second day. He can go about 3 minutes in the half court, and then he's exhausted. So it's going to take him a while to get his feet under him and to get his wind to where it needs to be. That being said, it is a great first experience to get rid of the butterflies, to go out there in a game-type setting, get up and down the floor, get his lungs burning, and you get that first one behind him as opposed to having his first one be a league game. As far as the other one, I'll talk about that if and when it happens. We're all hopeful that it gets passed today, and we'll have the option of bringing Trevor onto our active roster. And that obviously would be another reason to play this game is, to get Trevor some minutes. But, we'll talk about that when and if it happens.
Sam McKeown.
Hey, Fred. So Eduardo went through the 21-day deal. You can't control the fact that it's a 21-day event. How do you feel about it now that you've kind of seen that, and do you wish that the Big Ten would revisit that as this season goes on?
Well, as far as Eduardo, I'm really high on him in his future. He's a kid that every practice he was in there, he was getting better and better every time he stepped on the floor. It's unfortunate what happened. Obviously that's just the era that we're living in right now, and it's just out of your control, out of his control. He's doing extra conditioning. He's out on the floor running right now with Tim Wilson, getting the extra running in. So, it's an important first step for Eduardo getting out on the floor. He obviously offers a big body, offers us some rim protection in the league, but this was a huge setback, especially a big guy like that, when you don't do anything per rule, and then you get thrown back in, and then you got to basically start at square one again. So it's going to take him a little while before he's back in the playing shape that he needs to be in, where he can help us in a Big Ten game. I'm confident with his work ethic that he will eventually get there and give us good minutes on the floor. But one of the reasons we wanted to schedule this game against Doane is to give him that first opportunity to be on the floor. It's such an important thing, to get comfortable out there. It's just so different. You can simulate all you want, getting on a treadmill. The first step is getting on a bike, running sprints, that type of thing, but nothing compares to that game action. I promise you'll see him after 2 or 3 times up the floor, he's going to be winded. So we're going to really have to keep an eye on him. It's going to be short bursts when he's out there, but it is important to get him on the floor in a real game. So, we're excited about that. I'm excited to see what he can give us out there on the floor tomorrow night.
I know how much you appreciate Lat Main's willingness and versatility to do some of the dirty work in the post. How do you, as Eduardo gets his conditioning up and before Derek comes back, how do you get Lat to maybe avoid some of those fouls that are unnecessary?
Yeah, he is. I mean, he's doing everything we're asking of him. He has not complained one time about playing out of position, and he's down there doing everything he can to battle against a lot of big bodies. And some of those are picking up fouls there, and then he'll pick up a silly one, 90 feet from the basket. So, we need Lat on the floor. Obviously, you saw, or especially early on, he got us off to great starts by, taking the lid off and hitting shots. So, you just really get out of a rhythm when you pick up those early fouls, which unfortunately has happened to Lat in a few of those cases. But, soon we're going to be getting help on our front line, not only with Eduardo, but, in 5 games. I believe the Ohio State game is when we'll get Derek back on our active roster, and that'll move Lat back to his natural position. We need to do a better job at times, and teams aren't leaving Lat. He's slipping out of a lot of screens. We need to set some more of those, force the defense. We did that in one game where Delano benefited by that by getting to the rim. And, Lat's a huge part of this team, as everybody knows, and everybody's been around him. He does a lot of little things out there. He cuts hard, he moves. He's going to battle defensively regardless of who he's guarding. So, it is important, though, that we have him on the floor and try to keep him out of foul trouble.
Connor Happer?
Hey, Fred, you guys have played 6 games now. How do you feel like you guys have adjusted to all the other stuff that this season kind of brings, whether it's playing in front of no fans or all the stuff that you have to go through kind of behind the scenes just to play games? Has there been anything so far that's taken you by surprise that you didn't expect? And how do you kind of adjust with that going forward?
Yeah, I think we're doing okay. Obviously we've got a lot of things we need to do better, more consistently. We played 26 of our most productive minutes of the season the other night against Creighton, and then 14 of our worst, in the same game, which is disheartening. When you have a 4-point game with 14 and a half to go, and then the wheels just completely fall off and we crumble. And that's part of that. That's part of the process when you have so many new faces. But we can't use that excuse forever. We got to get better at it. We really went at it these last couple of days of practice. We're going to get at it after it tomorrow morning. For me right now, it's about correcting. It's about us. It's about doing things better, more consistently throughout the game and making sure we're building the right habits. I loved our approach. We had good, solid, hard physical practices, and I'm hopeful that'll carry over not only to tomorrow, but then the 20 league games. We're going to have to if we want a chance to be in games and have a chance to win.
How hard has that been so far to just keep energy during games? I think you get probably asked this after every game, but just kind of keep energy even when shots aren't falling, knowing that you don't have the crowd there to kind of help you out and push you forward to that.
Yeah, it is what it is. It's the same for everybody. And, for us, it's, we've gotten off to very good starts in pretty much every game. We've gotten off to a good start. You have a 10-point lead with under 10 minutes to go in one of our losses against Nevada. We have a lead under 7 to go against Georgia Tech. We're within 4 with just over 14 to play against Creighton. So what we have to do is continue to trust and understand the things that have been working. We've got to continue to do that. When a team goes on a 6-0 run and makes it a 7 or 10-point game the other way, we have to come down and continue to move the ball, not try to split a small space and turn the ball over. That was my biggest concern this year. Going into this season was taking care of the basketball. Early practices, we were throwing that thing all over the place. And then we get into the games, and it's 10 turnovers, 9 turnovers. In the last 3, it's 15, 16, 25. So obviously we're trending in the wrong direction. We practiced without dribbling. We got pretty damn good at it. We cut, we slashed, we were picking the defense apart, and we were doing that. But the biggest sign of growth in that is, can you do it when things get difficult? Can you continue to trust and do the things that have been working, those the last part of the game, as opposed to going out and doing it on our own. Again, I'm confident with this group. They're unbelievably coachable. They want to get better. They have pride, and hopefully, starting tomorrow, we can take a step in the right direction in that area, and then carry that over to Wisconsin on the 22nd.
Okay, we got time for about 2 more. Kevin Suits.
Hey, Fred, how many phone calls did you have to make to try to get an opponent for this week? And I'm just kind of wondering what it's like being a coach when you're trying to schedule a game on the fly like this. And I think you answered why don't, but how far down the line were they in terms of the teams you reached out to?
Yeah, I mean, we talked to a couple others, and a couple we couldn't figure out a date, and a few others we just felt like it wasn't the right game for us. So how many exactly was that, Kevin? I don't know for sure. We've got guys behind the scenes that are making calls and receiving calls about the scheduling. We talked about keeping this one open, but then again, when you look at all the variables and, Derek, Eduardo, potentially Trevor, all the things to get guys either another game or to knock off a game with a suspension, we felt like this was the right timing to do it, and, we felt good about who we're going to play tomorrow. So, you've seen all across the board. I think pretty much everybody has lost a game at this point. Some have scheduled, some haven't. Some I think will wait until the end of the season. But, we just felt like from everything that we've talked about with all the variables involved, this was the right thing to do.
Okay, we'll finish with Robin Washut.
I know Derek was pretty down after that suspension was officially announced, but obviously it's been reduced quite a bit. I guess, how has he handled all of this, and what type of role has he provided you guys? I know that you've said he's one of your better leaders vocally and in the locker room. Has he still been able to be an asset to you guys, even though the season didn't start the way he wanted?
Yeah, he's handled it phenomenally, and he's done an unbelievable job of trying to lift the spirits. Even the day he found out about it, he needed some time to compose himself in the locker room, but when he came out, he was vocal and doing the little things that Derek does. Now it's about when that thing is over, which it's coming, and I talked to him about how quickly it was going to go, and we're getting pretty close to where we are to have him back on the roster. So now it's about carrying everything that he's all about over once we start playing games, and I'm confident Derek will do that.
That'll end your time with Coach. We'll be back with players momentarily.
Thank you.